Shelley, my love, I only long to be where you are. Shelley, my love.
Dr. Jones.
Yes.
You're an acknowledged expert, correct?
Correct. Is this a lie detector test?
The term bivalve.
That's not a question. Yes, it is a term.
You told me over the phone that the scientific name of the Eugary was Plebii Bomax, as in Botox. Now you're coming forward and saying that Plebii is not involved anymore and Bomax is even wrong, and it's actually D. Do you care to explain yourself, please?
Well, it's important that we clarify this. We need to get these sorts of basic facts correct. Clearly we had a poor connection during our phone interview previously. The correct terminology is Donax deltoides. However, it was known as Plebidonax deltoides or Plebidonax australis. The two species have since been synonymised to deltoides, being the original description from, what was his name?
Plebby.
No, Cook, Captain Cook. The reality is, at this point in time, we know the Eugary or Pippi to be described under the name Donax deltoides. End of story. May we move on?
In fishing parlance, we refer to the tubes. What is their proper name?
Yes, well, this is one of the problems. The fishing fraternity is full of these vernacularisms. The correct terminology is siphons. The inlet and the outlet siphon. An appropriate term because this is where the water is sucked in and spat back out.
We refer to the stomach. What is the proper term?
Stomach.
Every day things change and the world puts on a new face. Certain things rearrange and this whole world seems like a new place. Secretly I've been trailing like the fox that preys on the rabbit. I had to get you, and so I knew I had to learn your ways and habits. Ooh, you were the catch that I was after. And I looked up and I was in your arms, and I knew I had been captured. What's this old world coming to? Things just ain't the same. Anytime the hunter gets captured by the game.
Could you describe to us the life cycle of the Eugary?
The life cycle of the Eugary by Clive Jones. If we start at the point of maturation and breeding, the mature Eugary, which can sometimes weigh as much as 35 grams, will, in the particular breeding season when sea temperatures reach the appropriate level of approximately 26.94 degrees Celsius, will in fact begin its mating ritual, which involves moving up to the surface of the sediment in which it is located and releasing its gametes into the water. This is an asynchronous affair where the male gametes are released first, and then some 6 hours later the female gametes are released. This ensures that male and female gametes from different individuals will come together rather than those from the same individual, thus avoiding inbreeding. These gametes then mix and become fertilised eggs. Shortly after the fertilisation process, the eggs then hatch into a trochophore larva, which floats around in the ocean at the whim of ocean currents, It has its own yolk supply, so it doesn't require any additional nutrients. And then some 6 to 10 days later, this then metamorphoses into a very small Eugary. In fact, tiny. So very tiny it cannot be seen.
Do Eugarys travel out over the continental shelf?
This is one of the great mysteries of science and biology, and in fact such mysteries exist for a whole range of different species, and none more so than the Eugary. Much misunderstood by the fishing fraternity and the general community. There has been a theory and some very scant evidence that indeed the large Eugary, having completed its normal life cycle, moves into very deep water. This is where evidence and fact becomes a little bit shaky, because we haven't really developed appropriate technologies to locate Eugarys in these very great depths where there's no light and so forth. So, and this has not been at the highest priority, given that most of our resources for looking at abyssal depths have been focused on the Titanic, for example.
In modern cosmetic surgery, the use of Botox has been employed to paralyse the skin and thus lessen the wrinkles. Can the Eugary be used for this purpose?
Again, conjecture at this stage, but some great hope has been placed on this potential. The Eugary, or the essence of the Eugary creature, including both the organs and the shell, have been tested in a number of laboratories, perhaps the most prominent being the what? The Ponds Institute.
I think you probably dealt with my next question, is how small are they when they are born, and you did say that they were in fact very small.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I get quite emotional about this particular aspect of the Eugary's biology, because without doubt it's going to lead to discussion of Eugary death and mortality. Anyway, as part of the circle of life, I can handle that.
yeah,
Eugary.
fish, then, you would say, have very good eyesight.
Well, that's a long string to bow to stretch. Certainly fish have eyesight. I'm prepared to concede that one. But in fact, I have my own theory on the fish's eyes. They, in fact, underwater don't provide much opportunity to sense anything. They're simply there, in the case of the Eugary, so that the Eugary feels this presence of eyes bearing down on it. The fish indeed can't see a thing. It's sensing things through its lateral line system, which is a vibrationary sensory organ located along the flanks of the fish. The eyes are simply a vestigial element from their evolution, with no particular function other than to scare the living daylights out of every Eugary.
Big statement. Therefore, a movie theatre for fish would be a waste of time.
Indeed.
What about that big maxi stuff? What's it called?
IMAX.
IMAX.
An IMAX for fish.
An IMAX for fish. Would it be on both sides?
It would have to be an IMAX. I think actually the Birch, Carroll and Coyle people have got it right with their Sen Stadium. It would be a matter of vibrations would get the fish more excited than the actual vision.
What is your position on the controversy which is raging about baiting a hook with Eugary, and that is tubes on first or last?
I would prefer the term siphon on first, of course, being, you know, more morphologically correct. Siphons on first, and stomach, as you so eloquently put it, and foot, the foot of the Eugary last.
From the fish perspective, they see the siphons first or the foot first?
Well, there, as I've pointed out for the third time, can't see a bloody thing. They're sensing the vibrations, and by securing the total Eugary organism, minus its shell of course, by the siphons, it allows the squirming foot, which is of course in great agony by this point, to send out various vibrationary patterns into the water which the fish respond to. So I think there's not too much equivocation about this. That it should be siphons first, with the foot waving in the water last.
How old is a fully grown Eugary?
How old is a Eugary? An excellent question. If we count the concentric rings on the shell, we might count on a large Eugary, we might count as many as perhaps 40, 50. This has nothing to do with the age of the Eugary. It's a common mistake made by many, particularly civiculturists who are accustomed to counting the rings of a tree. So the answer is that a Eugary, a fully grown Eugary, that we might see along the beach would be perhaps 12, 15 months old. However, the Eugarys that move off to the abyss, as we discussed earlier, could be much older. But to this date, as with the giant squid of Moby Dick fame, such Eugarys have never actually been located.
This is a very tricky question, and I don't mind if you refuse to answer this one, but do Eugarys ever die of old age?
It is a tricky question. I'm not frightened by that, of course, but whether I can answer this to your and your listeners' satisfaction remains to be seen. Certainly a lot of Eugarys do die along the beach for a variety of reasons, many of them related to vehicles travelling on the beach, and this creation of dimples, which of course is completely an anathema to a Eugary, to create a dimple on the beach. But to die from old age is certainly a probability, but it's never been proven to anyone's satisfaction, because it seems that the very oldest Eugarys move off into this deeper water, as we spoke about earlier, never to be seen again. So it's certainly possible that they continue to grow and live for a very long time as gigantic Eugarys, perhaps eaten and predated upon by giant squid in the great abyss that is our oceans, covering at least 70% of the earth as we know it.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Your talk has been very informative, and our audience should join in a round of applause.
Shelley, my love, I only long to be where you are. Shelley, my love, now and forevermore. Shelley, my love, when I see I catch fire, and soon I'm all aflame. I feel it start whenever you call my name. All around I feel a passion that fills my very soul. I put it down to that I love you so. Shelley, my love, I only long to be where you are. Shelley, my love, now and forevermore. Shelley, my love. No, no, no. feel your passion, it fills my very soul. I put it down to that I love you so. This time I'm into something that is not of this world. The love I got, supernatural girl. Shelley, my love, I only long to be where you are. Shelley, my love, now and forever. Shelley, my love, Shelley, my love, Shelley.